Hi, friends. This is Terry Fender, your ARBA District 8 Director. I'm glad to welcome you here tonight to our first virtual D8 Youth Workshop. We're happy to have you here tonight. These have been some very strange and trying times for everybody. And we had our full series of spring workshops scheduled, and unfortunately with times like these, we've had to cancel. So we didn't want things just stand still, so we were going to try these on the virtual route. And tonight, of course, we have Judge Cathy Szychulda from California. She also serves as chair of the ARBA Standards Committee, and we're happy to have her here tonight. I invite you to take time and watch this. And also May the 8th, we have Judge Armando Cabrero speaking on KVs. And on May the 10th, we have Misty Polasic speaking on a variety of different animal breeds. So with that said, I'll be back in a little while, but right now I'd like to introduce you to Cathy Szychulda. Take it away, Cathy.
Hi. Welcome to the kids here, and I'm going to show you a couple different rabbits that I would be getting ready for show if we were having a show. And I raise Rex rabbits, and my granddaughter raises mini satin rabbits. So I have a Rex here in front of me, but a lot of the grooming techniques also will work on other types of rabbits. So I don't know what type of rabbits the kids have, but we can take questions and answers more specifically later. First of all, I want to show you what I use in terms of tools to get the rabbits ready. I have a dog nail clipper here that I would clip the nails for the rabbits, because I always want to make sure, I know as a judge, I like the nails nice and clean and clipped before the judge looks at them. Okay. I also use a wide tooth comb. This is very important so you can see the teeth are very well spaced in this comb. We don't want to use a comb like a hair comb you would use on your hair, or one that's too close together. Otherwise, it pulls out the hair on the rabbit. So I'm very particular. I've had this particular comb about 20 years and I love it. I do have a backup one, but for some reason I always go to this comb first. And another thing I use is this is half of a hacksaw blade, and I'll show you later how I do it. And this takes a very light touch and very careful. I would only be using it on the Rex or mini Rex and not on a regular coated rabbits. I would not be using it on the mini satin, which you'll see. First of all, we're going to look at this rabbit. I do have another thing here. A lot of you have seen at the shows a grooming tool that the Angora breeders use. It's a blower, exactly the same as the Angora breeders use. And actually, I started using this as a joke. I had a rabbit that was so molty, we were teasing that it looked like an Angora, and we decided we would try it like an Angora. And now I use it every time I'm going to get a rabbit ready for show. I have a junior doe in front of me today, and although I probably wouldn't show this doe because she's very heavy in pattern, but I picked a rabbit that you could see the coat, so you could see what I was doing. So I don't know how well the pictures show, but you can see down the back line of this rabbit, it's pretty dead and pretty dull, so that I can groom that out, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. So we're going to start by blowing this rabbit, and we will put it on mute because this will be very noisy. Go ahead, turn it on. The first time they're very scared of it, and I don't have a stable carpet in front of me. So here we go. Okay, mute off. Okay. Normally if I were getting ready for a rabbit, I would be doing the whole rabbit over and over and over again. I don't know if you can tell a difference just by doing that, but it blew out a lot of the dander that was sitting on the top of this rabbit by doing that. The first time you do it, they are scared. And normally when I'm in my barn, I have a stable grooming table. that they can't make the carpet move. But anyway, it does take a lot of the dander out. So I would go over the whole rabbit. It's very important that you go straight with that because the hairs on the rabbit are straight. You don't want to do circles because just like your hair, it would tangle your hair up, and you definitely don't want that to happen. Sometime watch an Angora breeder and you'll see how they do it straight. Once she's used to the blower, I use my large tooth comb and I come over the coat very carefully and I pull out, thank goodness she's being cooperative here. I pull out any of the dead hair. So you can see the hair, and I'm coming backwards on this rabbit. And when the hair gets like that, I just pull the dead hair out. That's hair that's been tangled inside that rabbit, and you can see that it's coming out. You do have to do it very carefully because you can, just like your hair, you can be pulling out knots, and that would not be very comfortable for the rabbit. And you would not want to leave holes in that coat. Down around the tail line on this rabbit, I would comb just straight out. You can see there how much hair I'm getting off of this rabbit. And then I come through getting a hold of the loose hairs here just in order to pull it out a little bit. You can't actually finish the rabbit, but it helps a lot with the life of the coat. Just like your hair, think of how dull your hair would be if you didn't take care of it all the time getting ready for a show. So especially big shows like convention or Rex Nationals, I spend 2 weeks actually going through the rabbit, grooming it, taking care, just like this, to make sure that the coat is coming in as well as I can make it come in. So you can make a big difference in the rabbit by making that grooming. If I worked on this rabbit every day for a week, it would be very hard to tell from what we started with that dander to what it is now. So it actually does take it where it finishes it off. This is a very, we're doing 20 minutes, not 2 weeks. So but it does make a huge difference in how the coat feels. One of the things I also use is a spray bottle of water. I'm very careful. I know there's products for Rex coats, satin coats, but we don't use any of that. It's actually in the standard, and I have my standard right here in front of me. It says that any altering of the coat, faking, any dyeing, plucking, trimming, or clipping so as to alter the appearance. For example, colored toenails or powdering, an indiscriminate use of grooming preparation designed to alter the natural condition. So Rex sheen, satin sheen, Rex coats would actually be a false substance that you put on the rabbit. What we use is a spray bottle, and it's got a very, very light mist because I don't want her too wet. I just want to get her a little bit of wet there. And then I comb backwards and along the grain the other way. And pretty soon the hair starts sticking to your hands. You can see how much hair just with one spray of water I've pulled off this rabbit. So sometimes I'll be out in the barn, I have a radio playing, and I just play with combing the rabbits. I always think of this Dr. Seuss poem, girls who like to brush and comb should have a pet like this at home. So what you need to think about is just taking care of your pet, really making sure that that hair is groomed, that their toenails aren't too long, that their hair, look at how much hair I'm getting off of this rabbit just by doing the water part of it, just having her lay there. And the more you do it, this rabbit's never been groomed. And the more you do it, the more used to it they get. I think they actually like it. So they'll actually lay still and let you just keep grooming and grooming on the rabbit. I can keep working this coat till I don't have any of that coming off. And it's very important, especially on a Rex, because you have 40 points on coat. So you want to make sure that you're presenting the judge the best coat you possibly can. I'm going to switch rabbits here right now so you can see a different kind of coat that we're going to get ready for show. This guy is a mini satin. He's also not been worked with a lot, But one of the things with mini satins, I do not use the saw blade. We do use the wide tooth comb, and I just do the same thing, tucking the rabbit under my arm, just gently going through, making sure his coat is standing up. Sometimes judges are able to feel tangles. I know sometimes I can feel a tangle when I'm doing this because I'll feel, especially rabbits who have a lot of points on coat. You'll back comb them, you want to feel the texture, you want to feel the density, and I certainly don't want to feel a dead, dull, tangled up coat on a rabbit. This rabbit, we just do the same thing with the comb and the water. We spray him a little bit, but instead of coming back with this rabbit, I go start with the grain on this rabbit, combing him down. Now I'm going to go backwards, doing this, pulling out any dead hair, but certainly it makes a difference in how the rabbit looks, so I want to smooth it back down. Don't do this just before a show because it makes a huge difference. You want that coat to dry. You want to make sure you see the sheen. You want to make sure when like even the Rex, when I present them, I don't want them wet. That's why it's a very light spray in the spray bottle when I'm doing that with there. I also, same thing with the other rabbits, I would check his toenails so that I need to see if they need to be clipped. So they're not going to scratch you or the judges ahead of time. So you want to be careful when you're doing that. Any of the commercial coated rabbits, the same thing, the hair lays down with the rabbit and you can groom them the same way with a wide tooth comb going through, using the water to use your hands. Sometimes the rabbits are very bad behaved in the cage and they get some stains on them. You can clean that out, but not the day of the show. You can clean it out by making a little bit of a paste with cornstarch and water and let it dry, and then gently, he's not stained, but be gently combing it out this way so you can get some of that stain off of the rabbit because you want them to look the best they can. If the judge is looking at two rabbits up on the table and they're equal in type and coat, who do you think is going to win? The cleanest rabbit, not the one that has any stains or markings on the rabbit throughout. So we're very careful. And when I'm really getting ready for a big show like convention or nationals, we work on the rabbits a lot. Some of the other shows, I'm a little lazier and I might work on them a couple times during the week, but definitely for convention or a national show, we work on them continually. I'm going to ask Amanda if any of you have any questions now and that I can answer for you on grooming some of the rabbits. Let me put him away. So, Amanda, do we have any questions from anybody out there?
What are your opinions for using vinegar as a stain remover mixed with cornstarch?
You can do that, but make sure that you take, that it's clean when you take it to the show. Some judges, I will tell you this, that some women judges usually, sorry Terry, but women judges usually have more sensitive hands. There actually is a reason for that. Men have an extra layer in their fingers because of the testosterone, and it makes that a little bit less sensitive to the touch. Some judges are very careful about protecting their hands so that they don't have that. I know that my hands happen to be hypersensitive. I do Rex all the time, so I'm very, very conscious about how they feel. The same thing with mini satins, which is what I will be judging at convention this year. If we get to have convention, we'll be doing the mini satins. But you can use anything that gets that stain out. I would be careful because it smells. So you want to make sure that you're not getting that. Vinegar also has a drying compound to it and can dry the coat out. So you don't want to use it too much because then you'll have a dry, brittle coat instead of the lush coat that you want.
Can you use cornstarch on black or chocolate rabbits?
Yes, chocolate rabbits have a different issue, but yes, you can do it. You have to be very careful because the cornstarch will get in there and it starts looking like dandruff. So you want to make sure that if you do that, you have all of it out of the rabbit. I've actually washed rabbits before. They don't like it very much, but I've actually dipped rabbits in and used baby shampoo on them. We had a Rex rabbit one time that we were tattooing the rabbits, unfortunately, the night before the show, and we set the bottle of ink up on top of the cage. She reached up and dumped that bottle of ink all over a white Rex, and it was a beautiful Rex. So I grabbed her immediately and went into the house and shampooed her with baby shampoo and water till I got the ink out. And then it took me 4 hours of her sitting between my legs on the floor to dry that coat. She did win Best in Show the next day, but I would not recommend doing the bathing if you don't have to. But if you needed to, if they were very, very stained, you could just dip the behind of the rabbit, the stained area in, scrub it down with a little bit of baby shampoo, make sure that you have it rinsed out good, let it dry before you try to comb it or anything, and then you're going to take some time to comb that coat back out. Other questions we might have?
Right this
I know that the blower is expensive. You can try to do it with a hair dryer if you have a hair dryer, at least getting all of that dead hair to come off of the rabbits. Anything like Hollands, some rabbits don't have quite as many points on fur as like a Rex or a mini satin, but I still wouldn't show a rabbit that had a lot of dead hair all over it. You might just need to comb them, pluck it, not plucking, but pulling out that dead hair when it comes out in tufts in order to get them ready. And even though they don't have as many points on the coat, you want them to look the best they can when they come up for the judge on the table, especially if they win breed and have to go on to be for Best in Show. Judges will not pick a rabbit that is hugely molty for the Best in Show table, on the Best in Show table. So you want your rabbit to look as best as it can. The other thing is about keeping the toenails clipped, is that's important even if you aren't showing the rabbits, because they can't quite sit right in their cages or on the table if they don't have their toenails clipped. Other questions?
Ever have issues with blowing a bare spot using the blower on a non-wooled breed?
Nope, the blower, if you're careful, you just have to practice. I would practice with rabbits that are not going to the show first, but I've never blown a hole with the blower. I've watched people pull a hole with a comb or overgroom with this where they have a hole, but the blower itself is just air blowing, just like the wind, which is why I have to have my hair back for sitting outside in the wind, but it doesn't blow a hole. And you're not going to get so close to the rabbit that it would do any damage to them anyway. But practice on other rabbits. I'm sure they don't mind being groomed, whether they're going to the show. And pretty soon you'll learn the technique of using the comb, using the blower, using how much water, anything like that to get them ready.
There's a little bit of a delay between what is on live feed and what we have. But currently,
Yes.
right now, there's no other questions.
Okay. Well, I hope you certainly learned how to get your rabbits ready, or to help you get your rabbits ready for a show. I've enjoyed sharing some ideas that I have used over the years to get the rabbits ready. And I do get the rabbits ready. I never go out and just pick a rabbit out of the barn. I'm always checking before I do an entry, or we do entries about a week ahead of time. I know you can take rabbits to the show the day of, but I have to go out and check and see who's ready to go to a show and who do I need to work on. I see Terry's back.
I'd like to take a moment now and say thank you to Cathy for joining us today and spending her time and sharing her knowledge with our youth. And I want to say a shout out to my web team as well. Amanda Behe, that's at the control center. She's taken a lot of time really training some of us before we did this, working on some PowerPoints, a lot of work behind the scenes for this, and I appreciate that. And up in Michigan, I want to say thank you to Jane Bird, who continues to put out some wonderful flyers for us promoting these. Friends, I'd like to say join us on May the 8th to see Armando Cabrero, and on May the 10th to see Misty Palasic, and we got more to come after that as well. These are being done instead of our live clinics since we can't get together right now. Hopefully this fall we'll go back to being live in person, but for now, these virtuals will hopefully take their place and keep everyone a little bit interested and involved. So again, Cathy, thank you very much. Amanda and Jane, thank you. Thank you to everybody out there watching us today. This has always been primarily for our D8 youth, but times like these, we're welcoming everybody across the country. Come back and see us. Also, these videos will be recorded on our YouTube channel, and that is called ARBA D8 website, so feel free to check them out. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.